making headlines this hour. The annual two-day Principals Conference begins at Crossroads, Maldives, inaugurated by President Dr. Mohamed Muiz. The Minister of Education, Dr. Ismail Shafiu, announces that a significant campaign will be launched next year to equip teachers with essential artificial intelligence or AI skills. And Maldives is elected to assume the prestigious presidency of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association or CPA Asia region, a tenure set to span the next 3 years.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Abdullah Ahil. And now the news in detail. The annual two-day Principals Conference begins at Crossroads, Maldives, inaugurated by President Dr. Mohamed Muiz. A total of 210 school principals are participating in this year's crucial seminar, which the Ministry of Education has highlighted will mark a significant operational change, focusing less on policy papers and more on actionable teacher-level discussions. Scheduled to tackle various issues concerning school management across the nation, this year's conference has been specifically structured around teacher feedback and ideas. Ministry officials emphasized that the agenda will center on vital topics such as teacher training methodologies, necessary professional development reforms, and strategies required to recruit and retain quality educators in the field. According to the ministry, this represents a strategic departure from previous years. The conference structure often did not facilitate robust teacher participation or direct consultation necessary to gather practical recommendations. By concentrating on direct discussion at the teacher and principal level, the ministry aims to circumvent top-down policy exercises and instead find effective real-world solutions to the systemic challenges currently affecting the Maldives education sector. A significant milestone for youth development in the Maldives is marked with the official opening of a dedicated camping and educational facility near Male. After a 15-year absence, the Crossroads camp area was inaugurated by President Dr. Mohamed Muiz, promising a vital new space for school children to engage in outdoor activities and learning. The lack of suitable camping grounds near the capital has long been a challenge for cadet, guide, and scout organizations. This new facility, provided as a corporate social responsibility initiative by Dream Island Tours Limited Crossroads, aims to fill that void. During the opening ceremony, Minister of Education Dr. Ismail Shafiu highlighted the multifaceted potential of the 3-hectare site. The minister further emphasized the government's commitment to maximizing the facility's utilization for skill development among the nation's children. The camp boasts essential amenities including an administrative office, a first aid room, a day room, and a mosque. Vice President Hossein Mohamed Latif says that the government is undertaking a fundamental reorientation of the Maldivian education system, urging it to move beyond the transfer of information and instead cultivate wisdom, responsibility, and values rooted in Islam.
At the opening of the seminar on Islamic leadership and integration on knowledge held at the Islamic University of Maldives or IUM, Vice President Latif affirmed the government's commitment to education reform and human capital development. He said that building a knowledge-based and value-driven society is central to the nation's progress. The Vice President announced that the government is pursuing a major strategic objective to restructure the national educational framework so that it is more deeply grounded in Islamic knowledge and wisdom while ensuring that it remains competitive on the international stage. He described the development of an educational system structured on Islamic principles yet delivered in a manner manner that meets global standards as the foremost priority for the country. In building human capital across Islamic nations, he said the highest emphasis must be placed upon the foundations of Islam. The three-day seminar, inaugurated by Vice President Latif, brings together the Islamic University of Maldives, the International Islamic University of Malaysia or IIUM, and the International Institute of Islamic Thought or IIIT. He acknowledged the significant contributions of IIUM and IIIT in disseminating knowledge across the Islamic world and in shaping communities grounded in Islamic fundamentals, noting that the Maldives is making progress in this area. Over its three-day duration, the seminar will feature workshops led by technical experts on economics, business, and human resource development, all grounded in Islamic fundamentals. The IUM anticipates that this intensive program will prepare participants to introduce meaningful and beneficial changes to Maldivian society.
And now we bring you the call to prayer for Isha.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدًا الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة وابعثه مقامًا محمودًا الذي وعدته وارزقنا شفاعته برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Welcome back to our English news program. We continue with the local headlines. The Minister of Education, Dr. Ismail Shafiu, announces that a significant campaign will be launched next year to equip teachers with essential artificial intelligence or AI skills.
The initiative was revealed during the opening ceremony of the Principals Conference, where Minister Dr. Shafiu emphasized the Ministry of Education's commitment to enhancing both the health and well-being along the capacity of educators. This move is seen as a crucial step in bolstering the skills of teachers across the nation. The minister underscored the direct link between technically competent teachers and the development of intellectual youth. He explained that a nation that fosters continuous learning, particularly among its young people, is the surest path to progress. The minister warned without such an emphasis, graduates might struggle to find productive career paths upon completing their education. To achieve this vision, the ministry is also undertaking curriculum revisions where Minister Dr. Shafiu confirmed that mapping for these changes is complete with significant content overhaul expected to commence next year. The overarching goal, he reiterated, is to cultivate students who possess a love for Islam and their country, aligning with President Dr. Mohamed Muiz's priority of developing minds, fostering critical thinking, and nurturing patriotic citizens. He added, the education system, therefore, is being recalibrated to produce an intellectual and productive generation.
Maldives is elected to assume the prestigious presidency of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association or CPA Asia region, a tenure set to span the next 3 years. The announcement was made following the CPA Asia region Executive Committee meeting held in Barbados, where delegates formally cast their votes. Representatives representing the Maldives in this significant capacity will be the Deputy Speaker of the Parliament, Ahmed Nazim, whose term will conclude at the 71st Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference. This appointment follows the conclusion of Sri Lanka's term and comes amidst unforeseen circumstances. According to CPA rules of procedure, Bangladesh was slated for this position. However, the country is currently without an elected parliament, presenting insurmountable obstacles to fulfilling the role. The election of the Maldives is seen as a strong endorsement of its robust engagement within the Commonwealth parliamentary community and its dedicated efforts to champion the objectives of the CPA across the Asian region. The CPA, a venerable and highly active association within the Commonwealth, comprises over 180 national, regional, and state parliaments. Its Asia regional headquarters is located in Islamabad, Pakistan. The government pledges its full support to strengthening the nation's accounting sector, with the Minister of Finance and Planning, Musa Zamir, declaring that trust remains the indispensable foundation of the country's financial system.
Opening the Maldives Accountants Forum 2025, the largest gathering of its kind in the country, Minister Zamir highlighted the sweeping changes reshaping the financial landscape. The minister underscored the far-reaching impact of accurate and transparent financial reporting, describing it as essential to the functioning of the economy. He argues that reliability provides the framework upon which banks, investors, and governments alike can operate with certainty. Minister Zamir also recognized the Institute of Chartered Accountants of the Maldives, or CA Maldives, stressing that the body functions as more than a regulator. He described it as an institution safeguarding the integrity and trust underpinning the financial sector. Its ongoing efforts to elevate audit quality and ethical standards, he said, reinforce the very foundation of the country's financial system. Addressing the challenges of compliance and risk assessment, the minister cautioned that the responsibility responsibility of upholding accounting and reporting standards cannot rest with a single institution. He urged collaboration across government and industry, calling for joint efforts to strengthen the sector. He concluded by assuring participants that the government stands ready to provide all necessary assistance to advance the accounting profession, pledging comprehensive support to accountants as they expand their role in national development. The Maldives Accountants Forum, an annual event organized by CA Maldives, brings together approximately 300 participants to deliberate on the nation's most pressing financial governance challenges. Held on the 11th and 12th of October at the Maldives National University or MNU Auditorium, the forum convenes a diverse roster of financial and business experts alongside key decision makers. Discussions focus on institutional challenges in strengthening governance and accountability while exploring practical solutions. The agenda spans a wide range of high-stakes issues critical to the nation's financial health and modernization. These include strengthening the internal audit function, addressing liquidity and fiscal management, and reinforcing corporate governance. The transition of government financial accounts to an accrual basis is also under review.
Minister of Agriculture and Animal Welfare, Dr. Mariam Maria, announces a significant initiative aimed at bolstering the economic prosperity of local farmers with a focus on reviving the cultivation and utilization of two historically and nutritionally rich crops, coconut palms and moringa.
In a social media post, Minister Dr. Maria highlighted the immense yet underutilized economic potential inherent in these traditional staples. The minister emphasized that these crops, once integral to the daily lives and sustenance of ancestors, have seen a decline in production and widespread use over time. She explained the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Welfare is spearheading efforts to reintroduce these crops into the agricultural landscape, not only for their health benefits but also for their significant economic advantages. According to the minister, moringa in particular is lauded for its rich content of essential vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, yet knowledge about its widespread application appears to have diminished. She added the ministry aims to rectify this by increasing awareness and promoting its diverse uses. Beyond nutritional value, the initiative seeks to unlock a stream of economic opportunities. From the versatile coconut palm, a wide array of products, including traditional foods and beverages, honey, fibers for bags, and ropes, can be manufactured domestically. She explained similarly, moringa's potential extends to the production of tea, powder, oil, and even skincare products, creating new avenues for local entrepreneurship and employment. To facilitate this revival, the ministry has announced the recruitment of a consultant to spearhead coconut and moringa cultivation projects. Minister Dr. Maria expressed the government's commitment to promoting these products and fostering sustainable economic activities, asserting that this endeavor will leverage the invaluable skills, resources, and ingenuity inherited from ancestral practices to develop the agricultural sector.
Insights into business. Prime Minister Keir Starmer says Britain has signed trade deals with the US and the European Union amid global trade uncertainties, including tariffs.
Starmer talked to reporters in India's financial capital, Mumbai, after his two-day visit to the country.
Others, we've already obviously got a trade deal with the US and with the EU. In the more uncertain world of tariffs, I think it's to the advantage of the United Kingdom to lower trade barriers with other countries. In relation to China, that's not on our list for a trade deal as such.
Starmer was joined by more than 100 leaders from Britain's business, culture, and university sectors in Mumbai as he rushed to harvest the trade deal signed in July. The deal agreed to cut tariffs on goods from textiles to cars and other products and allow more market access for businesses in the world's fifth and sixth largest economies, aiming to boost two-way trade by a further $34 billion by 2040. Global tensions on trade has been increasing as the U.S. president continues to hike tariffs with key trade partners, creating uncertainty at a time of global instability.
Update on international affairs. U.S. President Donald Trump says the hostages held by Palestinian militant group Hamas in Gaza are due to come back on Monday, the 13th of October.
Speaking to reporters at the White House, Trump said there were approximately 28 bodies to be recovered. He said he thought he would be traveling to Cairo and he would later speak to the Israeli Knesset before returning to the U.S. on Tuesday.
I think I'll go to Cairo. I think that's where we're going, as opposed to the place of the signing. And we have a lot of leaders from all over the world coming too. They've been invited.
Israel's government ratified the ceasefire with Hamas in the early hours of Friday. Once Israeli troops have pulled back, Hamas has 72 hours to release the 20 living Israeli hostages it is still holding. Israel will free 250 Palestinians serving long terms in its prisons and 1,700 detainees captured during the war. Hundreds of trucks per day are expected to surge into Gaza carrying food and medical aid.
How all non-European Union citizens, including British visitors, travel to and from the bloc changes from the 11th of October, when its long-delayed new biometric entry check system starts operations.
The Entry/Exit System, or EES, will require all non-EU citizens to register their personal details, including fingerprints and facial images, when they first enter the Schengen area. All EU nations, apart from Ireland and Cyprus, plus Iceland, Norway, Switzerland, and Liechtenstein. EES will eventually replace passport stamping for all non-EU citizens, helping the bloc track compliance with its visa-free travel rule and strengthen border control. The EU will phase the new system in over 6 months, meaning different ports and airports may have varying requirements until April 2026. For British travelers using the Eurotunnel at Folkestone, the Port of Dover, or Eurostar at St. Pancras International, the so-called juxtaposed ports, the process will take place at the border before they leave the UK. EES is a precursor to an enhanced system, the European Travel Information and Authorization System, which will also require non-Schengen area citizens to pay a fee before they travel.
The Panama Sports Organization decides in a vote that Asuncion will host the Pan American Games for the first time in 2031.
Paraguay's capital had lost the previous bid to Lima, which will host the Games in 2027. Asuncion hosted the Junior Pan American Games this year. The president of the Brazilian Olympic Committee stated, quote, "The Games will be organized by a diverse and welcoming people," unquote. Paraguay's initial budget for the 2031 Games is more than $350 million. That amount does not include the new Athletes Village, which is part of a government housing initiative designed for long-term use and will be built through a public-private partnership.
In a quiet compound in Juba, South Sudan's Vice President Rebecca Nyandeng de Mabwa oversees a mural of her late husband, Dr. John Garang de Mabwa, a tribute not only to the country's founding father, but to its cultural memory.
Painted by artists from the Baobab Art Center, the mural features Garang in both military fatigues and civilian attire, capturing the duality of a man who led in war and in peace. The project is part of a broader effort to preserve his legacy through public art. Nyandeng, long a public figure in her own right, says the mural is a way to remind South Sudanese of Garang's vision, especially as the country grapples with the aftermath of conflict and the erosion of cultural identity.
What do you expect from people who came out from oppression? People who have suffered for many years. And they themselves, they were not valued. So anything around, they don't see any value of anything. They don't value anything. Now when John Garang came to wake them up so that they know their rights, not only in South Sudan but all over Sudan.
The artists work under the guidance of Abul Oyai, founder of Baobab and daughter of Oyai Deng, a former liberator and photographer. She says the center is helping revive artistic expression in a city still healing from war. Nyan Deng's daughter, Nyangkwir Demabwa, also an artist, is closely involved in the mural's design. Inside the compound, symbols like cows are painted alongside Garang's likeness, blending national heritage with personal memory. Nearby, a fleet of vehicles once used by Garang sits idle. Nyandeng says she hopes to restore them and donate them to a museum, turning private relics into public history. For the family, the mural is more than a tribute. It's a call to remember and to reclaim the value of South Sudan's past.
And that's all the news we have for today. We'll be back with any further updates. Until then, I'm Abdullah Ihul from PSM News.